I'm here to tell you that you will be absolutely miserable if you try to retire at 30 years old, and it probably isn't going to happen. And if it does, it'll backfire and you will regret it in the future. The FIRE movement, the idea of retiring early, retiring at 30 years old, is such a powerful idea. This video from Ryan Scribner got 1.4 million views. How to retire at age 30 and live off your investments. I'm going to tell you why you can let go of that pressure and stop trying to reach that goal of retiring at 30 and instead come up with a much more reasonable plan that is going to allow you to enjoy your life, enjoy your career, live comfortably, not worry about money, and actually be in a better place physically and mentally if you stop trying to retire early and pressuring yourself to retire in 10 years or whatever. This right here is the amount of money on this side, the right side, that you would need in your investments if you wanted to make, we'll say spend $35,000 a year. If that was your only expenses, you would need $1 million in your investment accounts to live off of $35,000 a year from age 30 for the rest of your life to an average lifespan, right? First of all, take a second and think, is $35,000 realistic for you? I'm looking at myself. My answer is heck no. And there's a lot of things that $35,000 a year would stop me from doing that are valuable to me and important to me and matter a lot to me. There are some people who might love this, but the fact of the matter is, the reality is that we can stop pressuring ourselves to retire early in 10 years and even 20 years. But let's talk about like where this idea came from, right? The idea of retiring early and retiring at 30. It used to be that, to make an income, you had to go do laborious work in a factory with long drives in a field, doing some type of labor-intensive work that broke down your body. That is no longer the case, and we have so many options to do creative work that we love from home. And I'm not saying work for some employer that you're miserable at, doing a job you hate for your whole life. No. Create new income for yourself. Create a business. Do a side hustle. Do a job you love. Take less income than more, and don't prioritize money. I'm saying all those things. Value your time, not just money. But retiring at age 30 is truly valuing money over other things in life. That, no matter what anybody says, your singular focus would be money if that's the case, and I would be miserable. So let's go through this and paint, like, what does a scenario of somebody that wants to retire at 30 look like? Well, if you need $1 million, which I think you need way more than that, but let's just go with $1 million, right? Average college graduates in the United States start at $55,260, with software developers or computer science majors averaging $75,900. Well, if you wanted to get to $1 million in 10 years with your investments, you would have to invest $6,000 a month, every single month. So that is $72,000 a year, if I got that right in my head, making 8% a year. And down here we have the graph. If you made 8%, it's the middle one, it's the red one. That's how you get to $1 million. $6,000 a month, 8% a year, you'd have $1 million in 10 years. That is not realistic for 99.9% of people. The other thing that this retire early, 30-year-old retire early thing takes out is, like, what do your expenses actually look like? I just did average cost of housing for one person in Florida is $1,000 to $1,700 a month. Housing cost for a family of four, is just Google it, $1,800 a month. Can you get it cheaper? Sure, whatever, if you want to nickel and dime, all that stuff. But just general ideas, right? Kids, again, cost $310,000. Then let's think about medical. Let's talk about food. If you do retire at 30 and you need individual health insurance, that costs $456 a month-ish on average. I'm sure you can get it cheaper. There's people that can hack it, whatever. Or $1,152 for a family. So in this scenario, just for housing and health insurance alone, you're looking at $2,600 a month alone at the age of 30, which is almost past that $35,000 a year. So what do I want to do? I want to work a job that I love. I want to be prepared financially, and I want to pursue family things and take vacations and spend time with my family and spend time the way I want. And I would love to have flexibility in my work schedule and all that stuff. But the reality is I do, because I work hard, and that's what happens when you work hard. But here's another scenario, right? You tell me which person's going to be happier. The person that is worried about money every single second of their lives and tries to save $6,000 a month and stresses themselves out and has stomach ulcers because they can't make that, or the person that lives below their means, saves $500 a month, which is very reasonable over time, invests for 40 years, makes 8% a year, and still works and all that stuff, and does a job that they like and that they love, and increases their wages over time and gets more flexibility over time, then in 40 years from age 20 to 60, at 8%, you'd have $1.5 million. 8% per year, doing just $500 a month. Let's bump this up from 500. Say over your career, you make more money and you're able to average $1,000 a month over your 40-year career. Then you're sitting at $3.1 million at age 60 if you make 8% a year, and $5 million if you make 10% a year. If I'm thinking about my life and my goals, and I'm able to do work that I love, if I want to make more money and I want to have more freedoms than starting a side hustle somewhere along the way, and then eventually like earning the ability to be my own business owner and work my own schedule. If that's my goal, spending money on things that I love, not stressing about every single dime in my budget every single second, and putting away $500 or $1,000 a month for 40 years, living a purposeful life, serving other people, doing things I love, and having anywhere between 1.8 million at 6% and $5.3 million sitting there when I'm 60 years old. And so if that's the case, then really, when you're 50 years old, you'd have somewhere between $948,000 and $1.9 million. But oh, by the way, this whole thing, this is allowing you and encouraging you to take time off of work, spend money on things, doing things that you love, going on vacations, having fun, and putting a little bit away each month over your entire career so that you're ready for that later stage in life when you're less active and you have other costs and stuff like that, and you're able to help other people and help your family and all that stuff. This is a realistic path to retirement and living a happy, purposeful life, in my opinion. Let's talk about, in my opinion, the best way to get there for people who don't want to have to think about investments every single day, don't really want to pay attention, and can do literally a set it and forget it type thing. That would be some type of ETF or index fund. You can get these in your 401k. You can get these in your IRAs. This is not investment advice. This is just information about investment options out there. The Vanguard Total Stock Market Fund is a 4-star rated fund. I'm not being compensated by anybody for this. I have no association with Vanguard or Morningstar or any of these funds. This gets you exposure to the total US stock market. This ETF gets you exposure to large cap stocks. These are the biggest companies in the world, the Apples, the Googles, the Amazons of the world. Then you get exposure to medium cap stocks, about 19% of the fund. And then you get about 9 or 10% exposure to small cap stocks. So some great exposure across basically all of the US business. It's invested in 4,000 stocks. 22% of the fund is in the top 10 holdings. And it gets adjusted every single year so that you don't have to worry about adjusting it. And just for you to get an idea, the top 10 positions are Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Tesla, Alphabet, United Health, Berkshire Hathaway, ExxonMobil, and Johnson & Johnson. Let's get away from this idea and this pressure of having to retire at age 30 or even at age 40. If you want to do that and you love that, great. Just know the risks and the stresses associated with that. But there is an alternative, and not everybody that works is miserable. I know a lot of people that have worked purposeful lives and that I've looked up to because of their work ethic into their late 40s, their early 50s, their 60s, whatever. So if you like this content and it's valuable, if you throw a like on the video, it helps other people find it. That helps me out tremendously. And then if you would subscribe to the channel, that'll help make sure you get all my videos when they come out, and it helps other people find the channel as well. Thanks for being here, and let me know what other myths you want me to bust.